You're a student or a scientist who wants to nail your research presentation, but you end the talk feeling less confident than when you started. Me every time. I've taken numerous science communication workshops, so I'm going to share with you 10 practical fixes you can implement right now to avoid common presentation mistakes and make you stand out from the rest of the crowd. Stick around to the end because I'll share the single mistake that ruins more talks than anything else. Number 1, assuming too much knowledge. The quickest way to lose your audience is to start your talk with,
"As you know, you probably are already familiar with this, as most of you know."
And then you say something that they don't know. I'm sitting in a colleague's research in progress seminar, and I hear those words and I'm thinking,
well, now I feel stupid. Am I the only one who doesn't know this?
I kind of know it, but maybe not as well as I thought. By the time I get over myself and focus back in, I realize the general background is over and it's all niche details from there. Unfortunately, the reality is we're all lost from slide 2. The easiest way to get people to buy into what you're saying is to say things that they agree with. Super easy to do in the beginning. Start your talk with a refresher on your topic, even for obvious things to get everyone on the same page. If you see people nodding their head, you know you're starting it off right. They're following and they're engaged. But then, the next checkpoint you can lose people is by skipping the rationale. Avoid diving into methods and data without telling the audience why the study is being done in the first place. The rationale is the motivation for everything else you're going to say. If they're still listening at this point, most professors or PhDs are going to be searching for this key component so they can critically assess everything else. Storytell. Present the problem, the gap, and then go into your approach. Make sure to draw back to the rationale multiple times, at least in the first part of your talk, to remind the audience because they might have zoned out when you said it or might need to hear it again to really lock in. Now I'm going to tell you the biggest eyesore that can be easily avoided, but first, make sure you aren't using too many acronyms that the majority of the audience won't know, at least at the pace that you're going. During my undergrad lab internship, I would sit in a dark meeting room every week for lab meeting, and like clockwork, a postdoc would present a bunch of fancy fly genetics on the screen with naming showing every letter of the alphabet strung together at random seemingly. I'm thinking,
surely they're talking in code or some other language. Now how do I avoid dozing off?
Ask yourself, what will most of my audience know? Apart from the obvious ones, define all acronyms once. Keep them minimal or just use full terms. If there are a few reoccurring acronyms, you can color code them to add an extra visual for folks to follow along with easily. Acronyms can save you time, but can cost your audience comprehension. Now for the easily avoidable eyesore, wall of text and tiny fonts. No one wants to read a slide with crammed text, or maybe the text is so small the back row physically can't read it. Don't treat your slide like a script. If you do, the audience might give up reading along with you and start checking their phones, some even having skimmed the whole slide before you even got through the first point. The solution is to cut text, use diagrams, arrows, or bold keywords. Do this in iterations. Go back to slides that have chunks of text in it. Is there any way I can represent this or part of this as a diagram? If you really can't avoid the text, reveal each point with animations to keep people focused on what you're discussing in that moment. Rule of thumb, use a font size of at least 18 for the body and 24 for titles. This includes graph axes and legends. Make the presentation legible for the person in the back of the room. Always keep that in mind. My bonus tip is to fit your titles in one line for readability and break up long phrases by how they would naturally be read per line. And my personal hot take, I find it super distracting when the text on screen is different than what you're saying and you never actually say what's on the screen. There's no need to paraphrase a whole line if you think that's better for some reason, because then we need to listen and read two different things at the same time. But what do you do if most of your audience isn't in your exact field? Make sure to avoid complicated labeling. I'm talking about keeping convoluted raw figure labels instead of using meaningful titles. If the audience isn't in your field, they don't want to decode every bit of nomenclature on every graph. Here's an example where the title is the exact readout of the assay and the details that you might need to know of how that was done. But for a talk where you're briefly going through this, it might be better to say what the protein readout means, for example, or what that complicated technique is indicating. Unless you're going to walk through that nomenclature, simplify so they can get the takeaway meaning in a glance. If you think people will want to know those details, you can mention it if they ask, or have a color-coded key underneath with a longer explanation. But then, there's actually a way to gauge if your slides are reading well. Don't ignore the audience. Instead, check in with them throughout the talk. You ever sit in a presentation and you realize halfway through that the speaker is staring at the screen the entire time? Maybe it's hard to hear them. It's like they're presenting at the audience instead of to them. No eye contact, no awareness of who's in the room, or whether people are completely checked out or not. It should feel more like a conversation, like a two-way exchange. Look at faces, pause. for reactions and emphasis, and adjust if people look lost. If time permits, you can throw in
any questions before I move on to the next section?
Connect with your listeners and they will be engaged and probably impressed. So you have their attention, but what about your delivery could turn them off? Key delivery habits that can weaken your message. The next one just takes practice and awareness, but I promise it makes a difference. Now notice what I change here. The next one just takes practice and awareness, but I promise it makes a difference. You probably noticed the filler words, every other word, but did you notice a rising inflection tone going up at the end of each phrase? Like I'm asking a question and not confident about the statements I'm making. This is so common, and once you're aware of this tendency, you can't unsee it in talks. Okay. You can't unsee it in talks. Also, some of you might tend to rush out of nerves and not take any pauses. It can make it hard to understand sometimes. Record yourself or ask a friend to assess how much you do this. You might be surprised. Practice your transitions, take breaths, and slow your pace. Now I'm going to tell you how you can easily address the rushing, but first, don't be the person with technical fails. Videos that glitch, graphics that won't transfer to another computer, animations that freeze, or slides that won't open. In my 4th year of my PhD, my friends would invite me to their PhD thesis defenses. I would sit in the big seminar room, so excited to see my friends go through this momentous step in their careers. There was always this one room where the slides would not pop up on the Zoom stream. Panic setting in, the speaker would frantically be trying to troubleshoot with all their beloved friends and families sitting in the room waiting. And in the worst case, I saw 20 minutes pass before the issue was resolved. Unfortunately, stress goes through the roof, confidence goes down. It's not a great start. Test ahead of time. Videos, animations, jumping around amongst slides if needed. Test after transferring your file to the USB, the computer you're using. Always bring a PDF file backup, and definitely test the video conferencing setup. Some conferences that you might be presenting at, you won't be able to test everything, but a lot of times you can in some way. For example, opening up your file on their system ahead of time. If you want conference tips and hear about my experience presenting, watch my video here and subscribe to catch it if it's not out yet. Now, how you're going to address rushing is to not cram your presentation. Too many slides, information data overload.
And then speeding because you're out of time.
Plan 1 to 2 minutes per slide. If it's not essential, cut it. Be realistic about how much time you have and how much time it'll take to go through each slide. Likely you're going to be practicing multiple times, and keep your time slot in mind. Rushing through the end of your presentation and then not respecting the allotted time is not going to leave people with the best impression. Finishing early with a clear message and leaving time for questions, those are usually the ones that stand out to me. Get creative in how you can include things, even if it's not an entire slide. Mentioning a validating experiment in one sentence, animating an overlaid panel to pop up showing a representative experiment where the same results were seen in a second model. A bonus tip, my pet peeve is when the speaker says,
I don't have time to go through this in detail, but...
and then they go through the whole thing anyway. If you're gonna keep it high level, do that. But you don't need to say that phrase. It'll just waste time. It's the same old show don't tell. If they have more questions, they can ask. You can always throw in a quick,
we can talk after if you're interested in learning more.
But none of this matters if this one crux gets you before your talk even starts. So what's the critical mistake most people don't realize that they're even making? Showing too many messages per slide. I know you're showing 5 different points on one slide and showing them all at once. I've done it too. Imagine you sit down at a magic show and all the props are on stage at the same time when the show starts. No curtains or sheets hiding anything. You hear them beginning to introduce a sleight of hand card trick, but are you paying attention? No, your mind has completely fixated on guessing what daring act they're gonna do with the giant tub of bubbling water in the back. That's what happens when you show 6 panels of pretty data in one click. Focus is all over, your words aren't getting to them, the impact of each component is lost. If you want to use just one slide, build each plot point with animations. Don't reveal your secrets until you reach that step, but even better is to break it up. One message per slide. No one ever complained for having too little on a slide. One graph, one picture with a clear statement, then move on to the next. The flow will be better, the logic will be followed, and everyone will feel caught up. But if you're still figuring out the foundations of how to build your talk in the first place, go check out my first video in the Science Communication series on the essentials of how to make a great research presentation with my quick and simple system. And remember, your future STEM opportunity is literally waiting for you. Subscribe so you're always one step ahead. I'll pout and I'll see you next time.